Hey guys, Garage 79R. We're in the garage again, and last week or this past week has been a bit of madness. It's just been madness. So, if you've seen, I had bought a Max Speeding Rods GT28 Turbo, and so I spent Tuesday fitting it. I had to modify the compressor housing. I welded an elbow to it. I ported out the wastegate. I did a lot of things to make it fit and work perform as good as possible in my car. They had a lot of extra meat in the discharge housing, which I had to port out so my downpipe would actually fit, and do all this work, get it on the car, and it's immediately bad. I'll get about 10 seconds of runtime and it will lock up. It's like they didn't machine it, like give it enough clearance for thermal expansion. You shut the car off and let it cool down, you can spin it again and it spins beautiful. But start it up again, another 10 seconds and it locks up again. So that was very disheartening. And so I reached out to them and they're kind of giving me the runaround, like, oh, what car is it on, and blah, blah, blah. And I at this point, I'm just upset because I lost more time than I can really afford. The biggest problem is I lost 3 days of time in the shop messing with my car instead of making money. And that's more upsetting. But anyway, the car's running. We got a different turbo in the car. So now the car has a smaller Garrett turbo. It's a 1548. And it's still, when you do the compressor math, it's still it's like almost just out of turbo, but still in the sweet spot. My biggest concern was turbine. It's so much smaller, but this car absolutely rips now. It's super responsive, almost hyper responsive. So this actually might have shown me that I needed a slightly smaller turbo in the car. Going by what I know now, that GT28 would have been a lazy boy on this car. Which I kind of anticipated a little bit, but I wanted to see how bad. To begin with, I would have put this turbo on the car from the get-go if I knew the inlet flange was the T25. For some reason, I thought these smaller Garretts had a smaller flange setup, so I never even gave this a thought. I wouldn't have wasted my money on that Max Speeding Rods turbo. So, anyway, it's fitted. I had to make a new downpipe because it's a 4-bolt discharge versus a 5-bolt. So I just took 2.5-inch mandrel bends, fish mouthed it a little bit, and nothing special because I wasn't sure if I was going to like this turbo or not. So I didn't put any more effort than I absolutely had to. Just used aluminized steel and just made it work. It smokes a little. I got a slightly smaller bolt coming for it. I drilled out the restrictor because this is a journal bearing turbo, and this was the restrictor for the ball bearing. But I drilled it out, so now it's wide open, but now I think it's too much. So I got one that's kind of in the middle, splitting the hairs coming. So we'll see how that does sometime next week. I had to make a new intake pipe because I didn't have a 2-inch to 3-inch reducer to make the old pipe work. So I have 3-inch with 2 1/4 flared out to it, and then a 2 1/4 to 2-inch coupler on there. I have a silicone elbow here for now. I'm probably going to cut off the cast elbow that I welded on the Max Speeding Rods turbo and put it on here and get rid of this coupler because I hate silicone bends. I also have a smaller blanket coming for the turbo. This is kind of just sitting on there. And I also have a wrap coming for this because, again, autocross heat soak is a major concern. I also today, I'm not going to film it, but I'm going to be changing the air filter as well. This filter from Silicone Intakes is actually like a paper element, and it's already like breaking down and missing, which might have led to the previous turbo's failure, my ball bearing Garrett. I'm not 100% sure, but there is damage on the compressor wheel. So maybe. So I wanted to keep my heat shield style air filter, so I got me a Aractive. Didn't necessarily want chrome or black chrome, but that's what I got. So, and this one actually has a cloth, cotton filter element. It's thin. It's only like 1 or 2 layers, but I oiled it with some Maxima air filter oil So this should still do better. I don't need the best filtration on this car, but I can't have paper and stuff going through my turbo. Um, so I'm gonna swap this in. I'm gonna load in a different tune because on my initial test drive, I hit 21 pounds of boost. I also changed the muffler. I noticed this turbo is really spoolie sounding and whatnot, makes all sorts of noises. So I took advantage of that. I had a random Flowmaster resonator off a Tundra kit. So I made a new axle back with that, and it sounds awesome. It sounds awfully like a Neon SRT4. It's very deep. The motor sounds huge, and it pops and gurgles, and it just, it kind of brings out my little inner, child, I guess. So we're gonna rock that for now. I'm gonna go ahead and change this, load in a different tune, and we're gonna go for a little ride. Alright, so I broke Earl. I'm not sure how this is all going to be edited together, but I put the smaller 1548 turbo on the car, and it kept overboosting, and I kept trying to manipulate the boost controller, but no matter what, it would always go 20, 21 pounds of boost. I think one time I actually hit 22 pounds of boost, and I was like, all right, I had this, I clearly remember having this thought. I was like, I should probably stop, pull the manifold off, and weld on. I have a tile external wastegate I could have integrated to the manifold and brought the boost down, because clearly the wastegate on the turbo was too small. And yeah, I did one more round of numbers on the boost controller to try to full it and see if I can maybe get it to start bleeding boost off sooner or something. And 21 pounds of boost, rod number 4 came out. So that sucks. There's 3 days of busting my ass to get the car running, and then I heard it. So, I know I was in no man's land. I know anything that high on those stock skinny rods is going to hurt them. Now I was hoping I would catch myself before I ran it enough times to hurt it. I probably hit that 21 pounds of boost about about a dozen times at this point. And I was literally like, this is the last time. If it still does it, I'm cutting bait and I'm going to modify the manifold. And yeah, it spiked up boost, and right when I was getting ready, I pulled second gear, hit third. I was like, yeah, it's still doing it, and then it goes, wow, it just sends the rod out. So it sucks, and I guess it really looks like I'm going to be racing the Yaris now for the rest of the year, and that's fine. It just sucks because this is the absolute worst time right now. I am so strapped for cash. I wish I had ways of having income. I've even thought about coming up with some shirt designs or some stuff like that, but that's not a real way to make money. So I don't know. And of course, right now I'm looking at my garage in the front or side, I guess it's called a fascia or whatever, tore off the roof due to the last storm. So now I got to figure out how to fix that. So the Earl's at the shop, but I don't plan on really doing much with it. Still technically runs. It's just it's a 3-cylinder now, and so I'm probably just going to park them off to the side and forget about it for a while, because I just don't have time or money to that last 3 days getting our car sorted was pretty much all I had left. So now I have a plan. I have a couple different plans for a motor, depending how things fall together. Initially, right off the bat, I want to take my Gen 1 rods and pistons that I have sitting in the box for the last 15 years. I would like to put them in the old motor of Earl that lifted a ringland, and then take the head that's currently in Earl and put it on that, because the head on the other motor, when I had the cams apart to do the valve seals, I noticed a lot of scoring and stuff in the cams.
So I'd rather not use that. And the motor that's currently in Earl, the head was perfect. So that's my initial plan, is to finally go ahead and put the beefier rods and pistons in the car, or actually really just the rods. Though the Gen 1 pistons with a Gen 2 head gasket should raise my compression just a little bit, so that'll help with response. Um, I still got the complete Gen 1 motor I could still swap in, but I don't know yet. I'm just not there yet. And especially now with a smaller turbo, I really don't want to have a motor that revs another 1,000 RPM. So I don't know yet. So I got the initial plan, I got the second plan. Then I have the open-ended third plan, which is maybe put a 1NZ in that and then go non-turbo. So we'll see, but likely nothing happening anytime soon. And I know I said in my one video, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do much, blah, blah, and I end up thrashing and trying to get the car ready and end up, shooting myself in my own foot. So Earl is down. It sucks. And, I knew better. Like, I knew exactly where I was at. It's funny, I posted on some of my pages I'm on, and people treat me like this is like my first time doing anything or something like that. It's like I knew exactly what I was getting involved with, and I was like, I knew at those boost levels, stuff is going to go wrong. It's like you're not telling me anything I don't know, and it's just funny. Like the people that bought these cars like yesterday are trying to give me advice. Like I don't need your advice. I don't need any advice. I knew exactly what I was getting involved with. It's just dumb. It's irritating, but anyway. So I think I'm gonna mess with the 4-door today, just because this is Melody's first day of school. So I'm home just in case something happens. So I might mess with this today. I don't know yet. Yeah, those are her twigs. She left them in Floyd when we went to Radwood. So I think that's what I might do. I might see if I can get the fuel pump working. So anyway, see you guys on the next one.